You are back with the crew. We have a stormy day, so we're inside the new studio I'm building and working on. And we're just blessed to have the rain, and we're very thankful. As you've seen my other videos, how dry we were. So today, as you've seen in the title of the video, it's crypto and politics. Well, it's that political time of year. I don't follow politics. I'm not a political type of person. I've met too many great people on both sides of the aisle to pick a side, and I've met some real boneheads on both sides as well. I have a great fun story about a guy that I met many years ago. Is a big, massive man. Played football in college and university, and he ended up being a politician. Jolly man. He was a great friend of my boss's, and he and I had a couple of pops on the aft deck until wee hours in the morning. And he used to tell me all the stories about politics and politician and what goes on behind the scenes. So that was 20 some odd years ago now, so I haven't had a lot of faith in those guys in quite some time. But oddly enough, he was a Democrat. Then he was a Republican, and then he became a Democrat again. So whatever that's worth to you. But he was the one that told me many years ago that in the beginning, they used to write their own laws and regs and whatever they wanted to get submitted, okay, to Congress and whatnot. And then his staff would write them. And then he'd been in it long enough to where the only people that write all that stuff now, not even his own staff, is lobbyists. He told me that. They just submit, the lobbyists tell the politicians what they want passed. It's gotten to that point. Anyway, not my opinion, that was his. And I've heard that said in other ways. The other thing that I really struggle with politics and politicians is they're part of a system and a banking system that it doesn't seem like anybody ever gets fired and nobody ever seems to go to jail. And that sort of is like, well, you and I don't live by those rules. And, you know, how come that never seems to happen? And I think their job and their future, because of things like blockchain, are really in jeopardy. And because in the old days, we used to vote a representative for our area or our territory, and he would get on a horse and ride for 3 days, and he would show up in DC and cast our vote for our neighborhood community. Well, with the internet, guys, let's catch up here. Blockchain, double spend, we have all that. That's all a ledger. That's all a ledger is. In fact, that's all government is a big giant ledger of what they've taken in and what they've spent. Anyway, so the other issue that I have, and I'm not trying to completely bag on government or the belief of it, is how is it that they've taken the single greatest financial nation in the history of man, and now it's in debt $30 trillion. How do we go from this economic might to economic disaster? You and I would never buy that token. There's no way you would buy a coin that was the #1 coin, and now it's in debt $30 trillion. You and I are smart enough not to buy that token, right? Anyway, just a little analogy about politics. But what I really want to talk about is why we're not getting representation. We're being taxed. We're being taxed on our capital gains, on all our profits from crypto. Lately hasn't been vast, but you know what I mean. Years past, they've been taxing us for what, 6-7 years now on capital gains tax. And yet they don't even support us. They don't support the growth of the industry. They don't support anything about it. In fact, they've done everything they possibly can to say that it's criminal or it's laundering or, you know, nefarious people are doing it, making transactions illegally without our knowledge. And, you know, this is a disaster for us and we should Regulate, which is, everybody say it out loud, manipulate. They're trying to regulate it now, finally. And they come after great companies like Ripple that have this fantastic idea, and it's going to save the little man trillions of dollars, okay? And what do? They send the SEC after them. Why? Well, why would you do that? You can't talk about this? You mean your Congress and your Senate is too busy to like sit down with Ripple and discuss this in some sort of educated civil manner? You just, let's just put the SEC on it. Let's, tie those guys up for a couple of years. Beyond me. So politicians have called themselves leaders of men for generations now, and I don't think the title fits any longer. Leaders would take a technology like the one you and I understand and believe, and they would take that and they would show their other constituents, hey, look at what's happening here. Look what's happening with how this could help the people we represent. I want to build this. I want to create with this. I want to make technologies better for all of us. That's how you diminish inflation, is with technology. Technology reduces inflation. Not printing of money, not printing more money and handing it even to the poor. That creates inflation. If you want to lower inflation, you create more product, not more money. That's the exact opposite. You and I know that, and it's basic, simple math. There's a great book, and I've done a video about it. Jeff Booth wrote a book, and it's called The Price of Tomorrow. And I know there's a lot of people who are not Bitcoiners. He has one page in the entire book that's about Bitcoin. The rest of the book is absolutely brilliant for the times in which we live. He's 100% correct. The top half of government institutions have lived off of the deflationary value that is being created by technology. That's what they've done. So that's why they want a constant 2% inflation rate. Why do you and I want a 2% inflation rate? That means in 50 years of your life, you lost 100% of what you had. Who would want that? Nobody wants that. The people that want that are the people at the top who don't actually participate in our economics. They don't create a product. They don't create a service. They don't do a technology. We just went over that, support a technology that you and I believe in. So, read the book if you can. It's a quick, simple, easy read, and it tells us with an entrepreneur's vision of where all of this is going. And I love the book. I can't recommend it highly enough. Enough about the book, Al. So, with the times in which we live currently today, there are big decisions being made in the background. And our representation isn't there. They don't plan on it being there. They plan on taxing us on it, and they don't want to make a stand, because then that way, a company like Ripple can work around their stand. It's poor leadership. I want somebody who's going to lead me. I have a story that I tell all the time, and it's so true I'm going to use it in politics. I want leaders who support other leaders. In other words, I've hired many, many people in my lifetime, and unfortunately had to fire people. It's one of my least favorite things to do on this planet is fire someone. But I've never hired an employee who came and interviewed on my boat or at a store. I used to run stores. I've never had an employee walk in or a wannabe with a resume and tell me about all the people that I've already employed, how bad they are. Oh, I could do a better job than the person you already have working for you. You should hire me. I would not bring that cancer aboard my vessel. That's not the way I operate. So one day, maybe there'll be a politician who will get in front of a camera like I am you, and they'll say, you know my candidate? The person I'm running against is one of the finest men in this country. He's a believer of man. He supports you, all of you. He's done a fantastic job for 4 years. Let me discuss all the brilliant things this man has achieved. Those are leaders. Those are people that care about you and I. Those are the people I hire on my boat. People who want to work on a team, who want to create something different and better. I don't want to hear about somebody telling me about how bad he's running against. And constantly, every sentence, tearing them down. It's not a process I'm in favor of. I know, it's the one we have. Sometimes you're stuck with what you got. I'd like to see a politician do that once. It'd be refreshing. And then he could always say, I think he's done a fine job, but I think that I could learn from what he's done and maybe some of his mistakes, and I can do a better job for you. That's a person I want to vote for. What happened to those people? Where are those people? You know where those people are? They're in crypto. That's where they are. If you look, I've been doing my research, I love to get into what MIT lectures and whatnot, and it's drab stuff. You want to fall asleep standing up? Go to the MIT site and start listening to some of those lectures. And I have a cool video coming up about XRP about those lectures, and that's going to be fun too. But I think it's over a third of all the students coming out of MIT want to get specifically in the blockchain industry. That's where it's all going, guys. You stop and think about what they want to do. And let's just look at, I know, good, bad. Let's just look at the SEC. Who runs the SEC now? You know who the original founder of the SEC was? Kennedy. Patrick Kennedy, Sr. Think about that. He was a lawyer. He was a businessman. They've all been lawyers head of the SEC. And now we get somebody who's a tech guy out of MIT, and you think crypto's going away? Your family thinks it's going away? No, it's not going away. They're trying to catch up. And they're trying to catch up to what you and I already figured out. And that is the future of man, the future of technology, and the future of deflationary life to all of us is technology. I know you guys already know that, and you have it. You're in the right place. Hopefully you guys got something from this video. And I'm out.